Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Alright guys, so today I'm going to be doing my full review on the Microsoft Surface tablet. So let's go right into it and see what this tablet has to offer. Now, first of all, I just want to show you, of course, the basics. So one thing about this tablet is that it has a really nice construction, but you will not be holding this tablet for a long time. Now, it does have, of course, a built-in kickstand, which is really nice, and I do like how it stands up, and it does a very good job of it as well. You also have things like a micro SD card, which is hidden behind the kickstand on this side. And you also have the magnetic connection, which is really nice, although it does tend to fall out every once in a while, like just one thing I've noticed. And on this side you have the full-size USB, as well as the micro HDMI that has a horrible connection, because honestly when I was trying to do it in the connecting it to a TV, if you haven't seen that video, it was really bad and it kept losing connection. So I just really think that's something they should have improved on before releasing it. And then lastly, of course, on the front, you don't have much, but you do have a symbol right here, which is the Windows symbol, which will bring you back to the home screen. All right, and now I do have this connected with the type keyboard. I use both the type and touch keyboard, and I did do a demo on it, so you can choose between which keyboard you want. And honestly, in my opinion, the touch is a waste of money. I had several people use this for typing and use the touch keyboard for typing, as well as the on-screen keyboard. This is the order that it went in. The actual touchscreen keyboard is actually better than the touch keyboard. It's more responsive, and you find yourself typing a lot quicker on it in comparison. So that is the one that I recommend, actually, even over the touch. You'll actually be able to type a lot quicker in comparison. The other thing is the type keyboard is great, and anyone that buys this tablet should buy the type keyboard. Forget the bundle. Yes, it's $30 more with this keyboard compared to the touch, but you will thank yourself later on. So now in terms of the device itself, let's go over a couple things. So the look and feel is pretty good, but just weighs too much, and it's definitely apparent the longer you have it. I mean, obviously it will weigh less than a laptop, but that's not what this is really targeting. This is really targeting a tablet market, which this is heavier than the iPad. So very heavy in terms of weight. Now, in terms of internet browsing, this is the best tablet for internet browsing, hands down. Now, for one, it is actually very responsive. So, it is actually very responsive. So when it comes to web browsing, it's really good. Now I want to go over a couple of the gestures in this device as well. So when you're on an app, if you want to switch to another app, you can swipe all the way, and that will pull up another recent app you've opened. So that'll pull up the store which I had open, and so forth. You can also view all of the apps by going in and then back. So go like this, and you can see all of the apps you've recently opened. So that's another thing you can do. Now, in terms of internet browsing though, the reason why this one would be the best is simply for the fact that you have not the complete internet browsing experience. And what I mean by that is, not only is it very responsive, very fluid all around, you really do not have the limited internet experience that almost every tablet has. Every tablet usually either cannot play Adobe Flash like the iPad, or cannot play Microsoft Silverlight like Android tablets. This one can go to every website no problem. So it's a really important feature, and for internet browsing, this is the top tablet on the market. Now, if you ever want to look at your different tabs or just see the menu option in any app you're in, what you do is you pull up from the bottom or you pull down from the top. And either one will bring up your menu, which on the Internet Explorer, of course, shows you all your apps. Shows you all your tabs. So again, really responsive, very quick, and does a really good job of just a great internet browsing experience. So I really do like that overall, and that is probably the best feature about this tablet is the internet browsing, as well as one more thing that I'll go over later. Now, in terms of how to close an app, by the way, you actually just swipe from the top all the way down, and what that will do is close the app. And now the Internet Explorer app is closed. Now, while we're on the main page, you can always bring up the right. Now, what this does is it gives you a panel of search, share, start to go to the start menu, devices to see if you can connect the app to local devices. Say if you're on a Word document, you can connect the device to a printer. And of course settings, which is where all of your settings will be, including your internet connection, your sound, your screen, notifications, your logout, and your keyboard. So that's where everything is, as well as it should be note if you ever want to share anything that you're on an app or search any app, these will always be here, which is really nice on the Windows 8 ecosystem. It allows you to search or share anything fairly easily. Now, moving on to the music. The music leaves a lot to desire. Even at full volume, it's just nothing special. A lot of tablets I cannot even talk over. This one I can easily talk over, simply for the fact that it is just not that powerful. So the speakers aren't that good in terms of quality. However, one thing that is pretty good is, actually, you know what, we'll have two apps open at the same time. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pull up video, and I'm going to play the video, which will be a really good quality.
What does that even mean? Who knows? I'm psyched. All I'm saying is that they should have a priority line for people who've waited.
So, very clear, very sharp. Colors are very neutral. They're not that vivid, definitely, but very neutral, very, very clear. And because it's a 16 by 10 ratio instead of 16 by 9, it fits pretty much every video perfectly. As where even some Android devices that are 16 by 9 will fit it a little bit different. So that's one thing I do like, that it is 16 by 10, which fits video resolution perfectly. So it's just really good for that purpose. So another point is when you're doing one device, of course, you can go to do two apps. So if I wanted the music player to be open, I can move the video to be either the smaller one or to be the bigger one. And this is how you do a split screen. Now, of course, the problem that I have with this isn't really a split screen. I mean, yes, it is split, but it's not split down the middle. It can only be split like this, which was one of my big issues with Windows 8. Is that the best part about my Windows computer is that I can have two things open, split down the middle. And that's one thing I really love about Windows that is no longer here, which I have a huge problem with. Yes, you do get more real estate on here, but it's nice just to have the option if I do want to have it smaller. Just let me have the choice. And it's really easy, you just have a middle one instead of just all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And I think that's one thing that will dramatically improve Windows 8, and hopefully it will come with an update. Now, camera. Camera is very poor quality for actually taking photos in terms of clarity. Very, very noisy with any kind of light. However, in terms of the front camera for video chatting, I think it would be really good. It's really good for video chatting, decent clarity, not the best out there, but you know, pretty good overall in terms of just video chatting. And that's the only thing I would recommend it for, not for taking photos, and definitely not for taking videos. So the cameras just leaves a lot to want, But that's going to be that. In terms of gaming, gaming is very, very limited. And this brings me to the store. So let's go to the store on gaming. So there are not a lot of apps. And when I say not a lot of apps, I'm saying even key apps such as Pandora have not made its way here, as well as just other apps like Instagram are not present on here. And I really feel that the App Store is just very small. But we were talking about games, so I just want to point out a couple of things on games. One, I think it's really absurd that Angry Birds costs $5. I've mentioned this in other little reviews and just talking about different apps, and I think it's really a really poor choice to have these apps cost this much. And I just do not see the App Store really growing if they continue to charge this much for apps. I mean, no one's going to buy them, and then developers aren't going to develop for it. So I just see it as very, very poor choice in terms of pricing. And I just do not see developers running to this ecosystem. They're already making a lot of money off of Android and iOS, and unless Windows basically sweetens the pot, they're not going to come to Windows. And this is apparent in games. For my gaming review, I could pretty much do almost no games, so it was a real problem, and I just do see that as a problem overall. In terms of gaming, Hydro Thunder was one that I did in my game review. Really good quality on that, and you could even use peripherals with it. So that's another thing which we'll move into the extras portion. So in terms of extras, you do have a lot of connections, including a full-size USB, which, like regular Windows devices, will allow you to automatically pretty much work with keyboards, mice, printers, even a PC gaming controller, as I used for the gaming experience. So these are really nice highlights for extras that are really nice and that not all tablets work with, such as things like the iPad. Also though, a huge extra that you have to know, and is probably the second best thing about this device, if not the first, is that it comes with Office. So that's huge. You get Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, which is really big. And this brings you to the desktop experience that we are used to on Windows 7. And the reason I like to point this out is because this is the only time when you can actually do a split screen. So if I take this keyboard off, and just use the regular keyboard, I can type here. So I can have, a Word document on one side, and I can even have Internet Explorer on the other side. And anything on the desktop section, you can do this with. So what I mean by that is you can see down here, you have specific apps. So Office, File Manager, and Internet Explorer. Any of those can utilize this split screen, and then you can type. Is this keyboard not connected properly? There you go. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so it's really nice, and this keyboard makes it very easy to type, and it also protects your screen as a cover, so really good overall. And obviously to have Office on here is really great, and it's one of the main benefits of getting a Windows device. It's one of, unfortunately, the only benefits right now, but nonetheless, it's a huge benefit. Now, in terms of battery life, guys, this is an amazing device for battery life. You will easily last a day, even if you're a heavy user. And it's just really over multiple days. I literally charged it about every 3 days on average while using it. Sometimes 2. I think the quickest I had to was a day and a half, and that was when doing a lot of these videos for demos. So really good in terms of battery life. In terms of pricing, so let me talk about the different pricings first against other tablets and then against other Windows RT tablets. So first of all, different OSs. So in terms of pricing it for $4.99 for 32 gig, which I want to point out one thing very important. even though you get a 32 gig, you actually have about 16 gigs of useful storage, meaning that Windows RT itself, including Office, takes up about half of your storage. So that's important to note. So you really have 16 gigs to actually use. On the 64 gigabyte model, I believe you have about 36 roughly. Yes, a lot of your storage is taken up. And just know that, I take that back, I want to say it was 40 something. So, but just to give an idea that you have about half of your storage taken for the 32 gig model and a good amount taken also for the 64 gig model. But let's compare them now to first the iPad. So in terms of the iPad, comparing for the same price point, with this device, you get a much better web browsing experience. You can actually view any website, as well as the fact that you have a much better productivity level because of Office being much superior to things like Pages, Numbers, and what's their presenting one? Well, whatever. Obviously, those aren't used by everyone in the world like Office is. So that's a much better way to go if you want to really just be productive with mainly using internet and Office. However, if you want apps, this is not going to be good at the same price. It really just does not have any app support, and that is the problem with this. And even like what people would call essential apps are not on this tablet yet. So that's a big downfall of it. Now, price comparing to an Android tablet, it's actually even less worthy. The reason why I say that is because Android, while it does have an internet browser that will support Flash, not Microsoft Silverlight, but very few websites use that. To be fair, so Android has almost the same internet browsing experience, whereas Apple does not. As well as Office, you do have that's the main benefit of the Windows over Office. But you can use something like OnLive Desktop, which will have Office on it. You do need internet, but it's very easy to use, and it's perfect in landscape mode. Unlike iOS, where it's kind of like shrunken and in that 4:3 ratio instead of the perfect 16:9 ratio. So these are the problems that this tablet faces. Now, even against other Windows RT tablets, for instance, this with the keyboard and the tablet costs $500, and with this keyboard it's $130 more. That brings it up to $630. The Windows Ative, Samsung Windows Ative tablet will cost you $649, so $20 more, but it'll be a lot thinner and comes with a clip keyboard. Just the same, and it's a little bit more spaced out in terms of the keys. A lot lighter as well, and a lot better screen quality. So in terms of Surface being the main one to get, it doesn't even show that it is the top one to get, even in its own Windows ecosystem. I mean, if you're just going to use a tablet, yes, but I mean, really the only reason you should get this tablet is if you want to use Office, which means you should get the Type keyboard. So I'm not even sure if it's the best in terms of Windows in general, but that's just, again, kind of seeing it, and it's just not the clear-cut winner in its own ecosystem, as well as against other tablets. So what is my conclusion here? I've used this obviously for a while now. I've shown it to a lot of other people. And overall, this is my conclusion. When it comes to Microsoft Surface, obviously Windows does not normally, or Microsoft themselves, does not normally make their own products. So this is something unique to them. They've only really done Xbox and the Zune, and this is really the third big one. So this is the problem with this tablet. Obviously, it has almost no app support, and it will not for at least a year have all essential apps, I would say, simply because of how slow it's growing. Now, what Microsoft should do is open itself up to having certain apps from certain people like Google, and it should have ones like iTunes as well, to more easily convert people that are using Android and Apple to this ecosystem. That's what Google did. Google made it very easy to transition all of your iTunes over to Google Music on their tablets, as well as, just take everything that you have. And to be honest, in terms of cloud system, nothing beats Google. Their storage is great, their photo backup is amazing, your Gmail account is still the best one, and search and maps are unparalleled. And the fact that Microsoft does force you to use all of theirs without even giving you an option to use anyone else's is just their downside. It's what Apple is doing, and it's why their stock has gone down. So I just don't think they're doing the right approach with this device. Now, would I recommend this tablet? Yes. I would recommend this tablet to anyone that wants to do two things: internet browsing and Office. If you want to do internet browsing and Office, this is the tablet for you. However, if you want to do more, then this is not the tablet for you. Definitely, you can see the comparison video that I did to the iPad, as well as the comparison video I did to the Note 10.1. Two top devices on their own ecosystems versus this one, and you got different results. This is, a very good productive tool. I love the full-size USB, and I like a lot of things that it has, but it does leave you wanting more for most users. It definitely left me wanting more. I just didn't see it as satisfactory. And I think it's a good start, but I think it's not a necessary buy. So that's been the conclusion, that no apps really to support it. Speakers aren't the best, as well as the main reason you should buy it is for Office and Internet Explorer and nothing else. Those are the reasons you should buy it. If you guys do have any questions or want further understanding on it, feel free to ask. Once again, this has been RICKY, the Android Guy.